My name is Ethan Carter, and for most of my life, people described me with the same word: quiet. Not shy exactly, just quiet. I was the guy who listened while everyone else talked over each other at family dinners. I was the one who stayed behind to clean dishes after holidays while everyone else drank beer in the backyard. I never needed attention, never fought to be the loudest person in the room, and honestly, I used to think that was a good thing. Quiet people notice things. We remember details other people forget. We hear the comments said under someone's breath. We see the looks people think nobody catches. And eventually, after years of swallowing disappointment, even the quiet ones reach a limit. My younger brother Tyler was the complete opposite of me. He was outgoing, flashy, charming in the way people usually mistake for confidence. Growing up, we were close despite our differences. We shared a bedroom until I left for college, wrestled in the backyard until our mother screamed at us to stop breaking flower pots, and covered for each other whenever one of us got caught sneaking out. For a long time, I thought no matter how different we became, we would always have that bond underneath everything else. But adulthood changes people in ways childhood never prepares you for. After college, Tyler reinvented himself into the kind of man who treated life like a personal branding campaign. He got into luxury furniture sales, and suddenly everything about him became curated. Expensive watches he could barely afford, designer suits bought on payment plans, daily gym selfies with captions about hustle culture and success. His social media looked like a motivational podcast had exploded onto a human body. Meanwhile, I stayed mostly the same. I became a mechanical engineer, moved to a quieter city, bought a modest apartment, and built a life that felt stable instead of impressive. I never cared about looking rich online. I just wanted peace. Somewhere along the way, Tyler started treating my calm life like it was somehow less valuable because it was not flashy enough for Instagram. Then he met Vanessa. I knew within 10 minutes of meeting her that she cared deeply about appearances. She was beautiful in a polished, almost intimidating way, the kind of woman who always looked camera ready even at brunch. During our first conversation, she asked what I did for work, and when I explained that I designed turbine systems for renewable energy projects, she smiled politely like I had just admitted to collecting stamps as a hobby. Meanwhile, Tyler talked about selling imported luxury mattresses like he was closing billion-dollar mergers on Wall Street. Vanessa practically glowed while listening to him. The two of them were obsessed with presenting themselves as a perfect power couple. Every dinner photo looked staged. Every vacation post looked sponsored. Their relationship felt less like love and more like a marketing campaign. Still, he was my brother, and when they got engaged, I genuinely wanted to support him. I accepted the wedding invitation the same day it arrived. I offered to help with planning, transportation, even technical setup for the venue because I knew Tyler tended to panic under pressure. Every offer was brushed aside politely but coldly. I even sent money toward their bachelor and bachelorette trip despite not being invited. I ignored the sting because I kept telling myself weddings were stressful and emotions were running high. I convinced myself not to take anything personally. The wedding was held at a massive vineyard outside the city, one of those places designed specifically for wealthy people who wanted rustic aesthetics without experiencing anything remotely rustic. The venue had hanging lights wrapped around old oak trees, stone walkways, and waiters carrying champagne trays like they were balancing priceless art. I rented a tailored charcoal suit for the weekend, booked a nearby hotel room, and brought what I thought was a meaningful gift. Inside a silver envelope was a handwritten note and a check for $1,500. That money mattered to me. I had saved it gradually over months because I wanted to contribute something real to my brother's future. Driving to the vineyard that afternoon, I had a strange feeling sitting in my chest. Nothing dramatic, just a quiet discomfort I could not explain. The kind of instinct your body gives you before your mind catches up. I remember gripping the steering wheel tighter as the vineyard came into view, trying to shake the feeling away. I told myself I was nervous because weddings are emotional. I had no idea how right that feeling actually was. The first sign came the moment I reached the seating chart near the entrance. I scanned the board once, then twice, then a third time slower. My name was nowhere on it. At first I assumed it was a mistake. Weddings are chaotic, people get overlooked. So I approached one of the coordinators, a young woman balancing a clipboard and a headset while looking seconds away from a breakdown. I introduced myself politely and explained that I could not find my seat assignment. The second she heard my name, her entire expression shifted. "Oh, you are the groom brother, right?" The hesitation in her voice immediately tightened something in my stomach. She flipped through several pages awkwardly before clearing her throat and telling me there had been some last-minute adjustments. Then she pointed toward the far side of the reception hall near the speakers and photo booth area. "There are a few open chairs by the west wall," she said carefully. The west wall. Not a table, not a reserved seat. Folding chairs stacked beside sound equipment and decorative plants like leftovers from an event rental company. I walked over there slowly, still trying to convince myself there had to be some misunderstanding. Then I noticed one nearby table with an empty seat that clearly should have been mine. The place card sitting on the plate said Ashley +1. I had no idea who Ashley was, but she was already laughing with friends while sipping champagne in the seat where the groom's own brother was apparently supposed to be. I went looking for my parents. My mother was fussing with my father Tile while guests moved around them in expensive pastel outfits. I tried to keep my voice calm when I asked what was happening with the seating. Without even looking at me, my mother sighed and said Vanessa family had extra guests fly in unexpectedly and they needed room closer to the front. "Just stand near the wall during the ceremony, honey," she said casually. "You will still be able to see." I stared at her, honestly wondering if she heard herself. "Near the wall," I repeated. My father immediately gave me the look he always used whenever he thought I was about to embarrass the family in public. "It's not a big deal, Ethan," my mother added. "Please do not make a face in the photos." That sentence hit harder than I expected, not because of the words themselves, but because of how easily she dismissed me. Like I was being unreasonable for expecting an actual seat at my own brother's wedding. Before I could respond, Vanessa appeared beside us in her massive white dress, smiling the way customer service employees smile when they secretly hate you. "Oh good, you found somewhere to stand," she said brightly. "Somewhere to stand." Then she leaned closer and lowered her voice slightly. "We are just trying to keep the family photos visually balanced, nothing personal." Visually balanced. I cannot fully describe what humiliation feels like in moments like that. It is not loud, it does not arrive with shouting or tears. It feels hollow, like someone quietly erased your importance while expecting you to smile about it afterward. Vanessa walked away before I answered, disappearing into a cloud of bridesmaids and camera flashes. I stood there staring after her while conversations and laughter echoed around me like background noise underwater. Then my eyes landed on the gift table. My silver envelope sat near the center beneath ribbons and flowers. I remembered writing that note the night before. I remembered carefully sealing it. I remembered genuinely feeling proud of Tyler. And suddenly I realized something devastating. None of them respected me enough to even pretend I mattered. So I walked over to the table, picked up the envelope, turned around, and headed for the exit. At first nobody noticed. Then one of the groomsmen called after me asking where I was going. I held up the envelope without stopping. "Do not worry," I said calmly. "I will stay out of the pictures forever." I almost made it outside before Tyler caught up to me near the doors leading toward the parking lot. "Ethan, wait." I stopped but did not turn around immediately. I could hear irritation already creeping into his voice. When I finally faced him, he looked annoyed more than concerned. His tuxedo was slightly wrinkled from hugging guests, and he still held a half-finished glass of champagne like this interruption was inconveniencing him. "Come on, man," he said quietly. "Do not do this right now." "Do what?" I asked. "Make a scene over seating." I actually laughed at that because it sounded insane hearing him say it out loud. "You shoved your own brother against a wall like extra furniture," I said. "But I am making the scene." He rolled his eyes immediately. "It's not that serious. Vanessa family flew in from all over the country. We had to make adjustments." "Adjustments," I repeated. "That's what we are calling it." He lowered his voice further once he noticed guests watching us. "You are overreacting." That sentence hurt more than I expected because it summarized our entire relationship. Every time he disappointed me, I was somehow the problem for noticing. I reminded him about the travel, the hotel, the suit, the money I had given them. I reminded him that I showed up for every birthday, every holiday, every family event while he constantly drifted in and out whenever convenient. And then I asked him one question. "When exactly did I stop being your family and start becoming decoration?" For the first time all day, he looked uncomfortable. He admitted Vanessa wanted cleaner looking photos and a tighter guest presentation. Presentation. Like this was not a wedding but a product launch. Apparently, I did not fit the image they were trying to create. Something inside me finally snapped then, not explosively, but quietly. Like a rope stretched to tight finally giving way. I told him I did not expect a speech or special treatment. I only expected the basic respect of being treated like I belonged there. He muttered that I did matter to him, but the words sounded empty even to his own ears. Then why did you act like I did not? I asked. He had no answer. The photographer kept glancing toward us nervously while nearby guests pretended not to stare. Tyler hated public discomfort. He loved perfection, controlled narratives, beautiful appearances, and suddenly his perfect wedding had a crack in it because the quiet brother refused to disappear politely. Eventually, he accused me of making things about money. That part almost made me furious enough to yell. "It's not about the money," I said. "It's about respect. And today proved exactly how little you have for me." I left before he could answer. Back at the hotel, I sat on the edge of the bed still wearing half the suit while staring at the envelope in my lap. I opened it slowly and reread the note I had written to him about being proud of the man he had become. The words felt pathetic now. I tore the note in half and switched off my phone. When I turned it back on later that night, I had missed calls from Tyler, my parents, and several relatives. But the text that finally changed everything came from Vanessa. "You completely ruined our wedding today. Not ruined things for yourself, not hurt Tyler feelings. Ruined our wedding." Reading that message made something inside me go cold and calm all at once. Because suddenly I understood the truth. I had not ruined anything. I had interrupted their fantasy long enough for people to notice reality. The next morning, I drove home before sunrise feeling emotionally exhausted in a way I had never experienced before. By the time I reached my apartment, more messages had piled up. My mother kept insisting that family required sacrifice. That phrase replayed in my head while I sat alone on my couch staring at the wall. Sacrifice. Interesting word. Because the truth was I had already sacrificed for Tyler for years. Nobody in the family knew this, but 18 months earlier Tyler's business had almost collapsed before it even launched. He called me one night panicking because he needed someone to co-sign a business loan for warehouse inventory. Banks considered his company risky. I agreed because he was my brother. After that, whenever things got tight financially, I quietly stepped in. I wired him money during emergencies. I handled calls from lenders. I even covered payments temporarily when cash flow problems hit. He never thanked me beyond quick one-line texts. I never complained because I thought family helped each other. But sitting there after the wedding, I realized something painful. Tyler loved receiving support from me. He just did not respect me enough to value my presence. So I opened my laptop. Every document tied to the business loan still included my name. Every financial agreement still listed me as co-signer. Legally, I had leverage. I did not want revenge. I truly did not. But I also realized continuing to support someone who treated me like disposable background scenery was destroying my self-respect. So I contacted the bank. I submitted formal paperwork withdrawing my authorization from future financial responsibility connected to the business. Then I forwarded copies to an attorney friend in case things became complicated later. About an hour after sending everything, Tyler called. The second I answered, he sounded furious. "Did you seriously pull out of the loan?" "Yes. Why would you do that now?" "Because you are married now," I replied calmly. "Time to build your own life without leaning on the brother you barely acknowledge in public." He accused me of being petty. I told him this was not about one chair. It was about years of disrespect disguised as oversight. For a moment, he tried sounding reasonable. He invited me over to talk things through. But every sentence eventually circled back to how stressed he was and how difficult this situation had become for him. Not once did he ask if I was okay after what happened. That realization mattered. Finally, I asked him directly whether he would have called me at all if the business loan had not been affected. The silence on the line answered everything. Over the next several days, the situation exploded through the family faster than I expected. My cousin Rachel contacted me asking whether I had also been excluded from formal photos. Turns out several relatives experienced similar treatment during the wedding. Older family members were pushed toward distant tables. Certain guests mysteriously disappeared from seating arrangements entirely. One cousin drove 5 hours only to discover there was no assigned seat for her husband. Vanessa had apparently reorganized the guest layout days before the ceremony to improve the aesthetic. Aesthetic. That word became poison to me. The more relatives talked, the clearer the truth became. The wedding had not been designed around family, it had been designed around image. People who fit the brand stayed front and center, everyone else became background decoration. When Vanessa finally posted wedding photos online, it confirmed everything. Hundreds of perfectly filtered pictures filled her social media. Elegant poses, champagne toasts, sunset kisses in vineyards. Not a single member of our family appeared anywhere. Not me, not our cousins, barely even our parents. It was like the entire Carter family had been erased because we did not fit the visual identity they wanted online. That was when my parents finally started realizing maybe I had not overreacted after all. A week later, my mother arranged a family dinner hoping everyone could repair things peacefully. I almost refused to go, but part of me still wanted closure. The dinner started tense and polite. Tyler barely looked at me while Vanessa acted like she was attending a corporate mediation meeting instead of family dinner. Eventually, my father asked everyone to speak honestly, so I did. I explained calmly how humiliating the wedding felt. I explained that the issue was never the seed itself, it was what the seed represented. Years of being useful but invisible, reliable but unimportant. Then I asked Tyler one question in front of everyone. If there had been enough room for one more influencer friend, would you have removed Vanessa, cousin, or me? He did not answer immediately, and honestly, the hesitation told me everything. Vanessa eventually interrupted, saying everyone was being overly emotional about logistics and photography. She insisted no harm was intended. That was when my usually quiet cousin Rachel finally snapped. No harm intended, she said sharply. You treated family like props. Several relatives immediately agreed. Stories started pouring out across the table. Complaints, embarrassments, quiet moments people swallowed during the wedding to avoid conflict. For the first time in years, Tyler looked genuinely shaken, because suddenly it was not just me. The carefully managed image they created had cracked open publicly, and underneath it was something ugly. A couple so obsessed with appearances that they forgot relationships require sincerity, not presentation. Toward the end of dinner, Tyler finally apologized. Not perfectly, not dramatically, but honestly. He admitted he let Vanessa control too much of the wedding because he cared more about avoiding conflict than protecting people who mattered. He admitted he got caught up chasing appearances and validation online. And eventually, with his voice shaking slightly, he admitted something I never expected to hear. I think I stopped seeing you as a person and started seeing you as someone who would always forgive me. That sentence hit harder than every insult before it. Because he was right. For years I kept accepting disappointment because I loved him. And people sometimes mistake unconditional love for permission. Things are still complicated between us now. Tyler and Vanessa's relationship already looks strained because apparently living for appearances becomes exhausting when real life starts happening behind closed doors. We talk occasionally, but carefully. The trust is not fully repaired, and maybe it never will be completely. But something changed in me after that wedding. For the first time in my life, I stopped shrinking myself to make other people comfortable. I stopped accepting disrespect just because it came wrapped in family language. And I stopped believing quiet people have to endure everything silently. Sometimes the most powerful thing a quiet person can do is finally refuse to stand against the wall pretending they are grateful to be included at all.